What's going on, guys? What would Vinny do? So tonight I'm going to touch on what the true essence of what would Vinny do is about. So the concept of what would Vinny do started with my admiration for people going all in after their dreams, doing whatever it took, whether it's working two jobs if needed, working weekends. Again, just going after their passion, making the sacrifices, the blood, sweat, and tears. I've been lucky enough to have many guests on who all went through it and they shared their journey with us. And in every field, not just real estate. And these are people who sacrifice to do what they truly have a passion for. And I respect that. I kind of had the same story myself. That's how the whole concept developed of what would Vinny do. People know my passion. For people who don't know, it was selling real estate. But the problem was I was working as a letter carrier for the United States Postal Service, which made rough for me to actually live out my passion. And when I look back at how I went about it, and I think about working the two jobs, and if it wasn't for the other job, I would probably not have been able to stick it out and get to the point where I'm at now, which I'm grateful for. And I'm getting to live out and work in a field I love. And how I had initially thought, and I needed to leave one to be successful at the other. And I thought it for a lot of reasons. Mostly it was other people putting that thought in my head, you know. But I learned that that's definitely not the case. I'm here to tell you that's not the case, and I'm a testament that that's the case. And actually, when you're going through it and you're working the two jobs, and it can actually benefit you having two jobs in certain situations, and that's what I'm going to touch on tonight. So anyone listening, obviously there's going to be pros and cons, and the word sacrifice means you're giving up something, you're sacrificing to get what you want. So I'm going to talk about the pros and cons to as it was going on, and looking back now, I didn't even realize it as it was happening. So I'm looking at it. It's almost like I'm Monday morning quarterback in this, and I'm looking back and speaking on it now. So maybe it can help the people who are going through it now to kind of realize and have a different perspective on it. Because once I got a different perspective on it, it helped me. So I'll start out with some of the cons. Obviously, if you're working a full-time job, that's normally 40 hours, right? I believe that's what they consider a full-time job these days. So you're working a 40-hour job, and then you're trying to get the other thing off the ground, whatever it is, whether it's a business. Mine happened to be real estate. It could be anything. So you're working 40 hours. You're trying to get the other thing off the ground. For me, when are you going to do it? My job was a 9 to 5 job, or actually it was 8 to 3:30. So I would do it in the evenings and on the weekends. What does that mean? That means that I'm not having much of a social life, and this is what I had to. That's where the sacrifice comes in, right? You're going straight from one job to the next, and you got to do it for a while. So a lot of people, again, like you either want to make that sacrifice, or you could just work at a job that you're not happy. And if that's you can do that as well too. I just didn't want to do that. I knew what I wanted to do, and I knew I was going to do whatever it took to get there. And like I said, that's what the show's about. That's what most of the guests talk about. How hey, listen, some people knew straight up that they wanted the thing and they went after it, and that's great too. And it doesn't have to be the way I did it, or the way doing it two jobs, but I'm speaking on how I went through it. And for anybody out there that's going through it the same way, maybe this can help you. And that's what the show is about. So again, it's going to cut into to your social time. So that's obviously a big con. You're working a lot of hours a week. So for me, it took a while before I started to make money. Again, that's any business. You're not just going to most likely go in and start making money hand over fist. You're going to have to, whether you're selling products, you got to buy the products, you got to recoup the money. Whether it's a business, you have to pay for inventory. whatever it might be, you're gonna, and then time is money as well. So you're gonna put in time. You gotta recoup. So mine was real estate, like I said. So I'm working evenings, I'm working weekends, I'm doing showings, and I'm working my other job during the week. So, but here's the thing. So here's one of the pros to it. The fact that you don't make money for a long time, which I said it took me over a year to start making money. The fact that I had a steady paycheck coming in allowed me to take the time that I needed to ride it out, to ride out the storm. And for many people who are adults and you have a family and you have kids, you can't go a year without money, without making money. So my other job allowed me to ride out the storm, like I said. Another thing it did, besides allowing me to ride it out, because I see people, listen, I see people all the time. I've been in this business almost 15 years. I've been in offices. I've helped open up offices over 100 agents. How many agents I see come in and then after 3 or 4 months, they got to go because they're not making money. That's what the other job allowed me to do, ride it out for a year, over a year. And another thing it did, which was really big, that, like I said, I see it now. I guess I kind of saw it as it was happening too, because it didn't put pressure on me, and that's a big thing in sales. Like you see people how they act when they're desperate. If you're desperate as a salesperson, people can feel that. It's like when guys are desperate trying to get women or vice versa. It's a turnoff, right? So in business, it's a turnoff as well. If I go shopping, and I'm talking about if I go for a pair of sneakers or for shorts, and the salesperson is pushy, and that I get turned off real quick, and I'm like, nah, you know what I mean? So imagine on a house or your most valuable thing, if the person that's working with you is acting desperate, you could see how you're not going to be that successful. So my other job allowed me to ride out the storm, to work in confidence. So even at the beginning when I wasn't making money, I still carried myself in like I said, in a way where I wasn't panicking, and I was always, it is what it is. It's going to get better because I had the ability, because of the other job, to ride it out till it got better, until the money started coming, which is an important part. So when you're working those two jobs, understand that what the other job is doing for you, it's allowing you the luxury to take your time to develop the thing that you're passionate about. And that was really big for me. There was the stigma, right? So now we'll go back to the cons. I remember brokers, we don't hire full-time people. No, part-time people, I'm sorry. We don't hire part-time people. We only have full-time agents here. But we're going to make an exception with you, right? So it's almost like I was stigmatized coming in, and then you have all the realtors who are doing some business, and you're kind of looking up to these people, and they're saying, oh, you should quit your other job, and you'd be good at this. When are you going to leave the other job? When are you going to quit the post office? And this is the advice that you're getting. And luckily I didn't listen to other people. And instead, what I did was I actually treated it as a full-time job. So it kind of helped me. I came to terms with it. I don't remember when I did, and I'm just like, you know what? It's not a part-time job. Just because I work in different hours than other people, I'm still putting in more time than anybody, just as much time, if not more than anybody. So I treated it with the respect from the beginning and as a full-time job. And I don't remember when it happened exactly, but I do remember one thing. It was when I started to make a nice amount of money. Like, again, years in, this was not at the beginning. I don't remember exactly when it was. And I remember switching accountants, and I had an accountant, and they saw my post office W-2s, and it was what it was. And then they saw my real estate 1099s, and they thought it was going to be like a little side thing. And I remember the accountant actually going, holy shit, that's pretty amazing for a second job, for a part-time job. And I clarified with him, it's not a part-time, it's not a part-time job. It's my way. And it's funny because from there, it almost became like I went from it being a crutch to almost being a superpower, and it became inspirational to people. And anybody that was doing it, like if someone was hired and they had another job and they came in, a fireman, a teacher, whatever. I remember at Keller Williams we had a team leader, and the team leader was Mike Brown. He would always say, he would bring me in and say, listen, this guy, he's part time. He would say I was part time and how well I was doing, and I would, the first thing I would say is, listen, they can call it part time because I have two jobs, but I don't treat it as part time. And for me, that's why I was able to do it. It went from a crutch, like I said, into being something that I was proud of. And at first, I wasn't, and I was kind of embarrassed of it. And then as time went on, like I said, I figured out a way how to do both. There was points where I was the top agent in the office of over 100 people. I've been in the top 3 to 5 for years now, and I'm talking about an office with 100 agents. And for me, I credit a lot of people with that have helped me. The KW in particular, my company, which kind of taught me how to use systems to be able to do that. And I just put some people around me that helped me to be able to do what I was able to do, and I'm grateful for that. And like I said, I say it all the time. Number one is great, and of course we all strive to be number one. But 4 or 5 is not bad when you're in an office with 150 agents and you got some real producers in there. I'd rather be 4 or 5 with people that are going to motivate you and push you, and then be first in an office where nobody's doing anything except the broker. So that's what I prefer. Of course, I'm gonna do a sports analogy like I always do. It's to me, I think of it as you watch teams throughout the year, and then you win the championship, the Super Bowl, whatever it is, and you see the guy holding up the trophy, Stanley Cup, and how happy they are. I think about Mark Messier when he held the cup when the Rangers won, and you see like it's about everything. It's about everybody who supported you. It's about what it took to get to that moment, and that's all the work you put in. And then when you do well and you get to the top of your field, it feels good. And again, not everybody's going to support you. It's not everybody's by your side and supporting you. There's going to be people who challenge you, and that's good too. For me, I like that. I've come to terms with that. I understand that in life. Not everybody's going to support you. Not everybody's going to want to do business with you, and it's all good. And you're going to use the negativity as fuel as well as the support. And I've learned how to do that. I think most people who I have on the show have, and a lot of people, when you tell them they can't do something, that's exactly what they need to prove you wrong, right? So I'm going to make sure I'm going to do what I set out to do. Whether I'm going to get the right people around me who support me, that's a big part of it. I'm going to stay humble. That's another part of it. I see a lot of agents start to do well, and they're just not the same anymore, and it's sad, For me, it doesn't matter how much money you make, how far if you think you're a boss. Like a boss, that's a funny term, a boss. A boss is not the same anymore. It's a boss, or it's supposed to be a leader. You're supposed to serve and inspire people, not give people orders. That's not a boss to me. A lot of people think that's a boss. I'm not trying to be a boss. I'm trying to be a leader. Always keep working at your craft, whatever it is, whether it's sports, whether it's business, and just improve ourselves. That's my challenge. I want to be a better version of me. That's the goal in every aspect of life, not just business, physically, mentally, spiritually. It has to be the total package. I feel people are always, they get the physical part of it. You see a lot of people working out, getting in shape. But for me, you could go to the gym every day. If you're not going to work on the other parts, you're just a nut job that's in shape, right? So, what else? The other stuff, you got to get yourself focused on all the aspects. Like I said, for me, also learning to pay it forward and it comes back tenfold. I know that for a fact now. That's definitely helped me, and work on those relationships. You build those relationships. I know at the beginning you're worried about things, but for me right now, That's one of my biggest things in my business. Building relationships, building strong relationships with positive, like-minded people. I believe in yourself. Like I said at the beginning, I can't tell you how many people told me to quit my other job, and it would have been the worst mistake I ever made. And these were people who were good at real estate. Like, they were telling me I needed to quit to be good because they couldn't do it. That doesn't mean I couldn't do both. And I've shown that I can. And luckily, I trusted myself more than other people. And I'm always going to take advice from the right people, proven people, intelligent people. But I'm always going to take my advice a little more. And I think everyone should follow that. So keep grinding. Thanks for tuning in. As always, like our page, What Would Vinny Do? If you have anybody you think could be on the show, make a good guest. We'd love to have them on. Let me know. A lot of great guests lined up. Keep tuning in Thursday nights, 8 o'clock. Enjoy your summer. Stay safe and see you next week.